Claire, Russell and myself, we've got the next 2 days, we're out here looking at these pasture systems. But from our point of view, we don't run these trials in our sites because this is what we rely on the likes of AGFC to do for us. We want them to be showing us what varieties are performing well, where they see their varieties stacking up, but also giving us honest feedback about what else is doing well. Today's journey is about us helping you become a better farmer. That's what we love to do. So we're standing here in a trial site that we think is excellent because it's unbiased. It's just purely looking at what varieties are performing well. That's where we work with the likes of AGF Seeds and other companies, be it DLF Seeds, which we'll be at tomorrow, looking and saying what varieties are performing well. But beyond that, today we're actually going to go through a bit of a journey of going, we're out on farm, we're with farmers, talking about how they are using these pastures to benefit themselves. New ideas, new ways of thinking, comparing what we do with other producers across the country. In terms of here, this is where the genetics are set. This is the bit that says once we've got the management right, let's get the varieties right. And so we thank AGF Seeds in this case today for taking us on a tour. And we thank them for actually putting this sort of work into finding varieties that can work. So all we have to do for our customers is get the management right because we can trust in having the varieties that we need. Loosen management. We often talk about grazing tolerant varieties. We talk about summer activity, having more persistence. But sometimes when we look at a paddock like this, we learn something. And what we learn here is that it is still all about management. We're standing in some 10s here, so highly interactive lucens. What we've got going here though, is that these are being well managed from a grazing point of view, not being overgrazed. If we look down, we can see here where they're being protecting the new undergrowth in this situation here. That's protected. The importance of that is that suddenly we're looking at stands here that are 7 and 8 years old that actually are still a 10 for winter dormancy. So it's important to be picking varieties that are grazing tolerant. It's important to be picking the variety that suits you, but ultimately how well you manage it is a key driver. So lucerne successfully being here as a 10, more winter activity, more winter growth. That's what this producer wants. But what he is getting out of it is improved productivity over the lifetime of the stand. So the question sometimes comes up when you've got problem grasses in a paddock and how do we best control them? But at the same time, you don't want to lose productivity. When we stand in paddocks like this, this is what we're seeing in practice. Chicory and clover doing a really good job in this case of achieving high live weight gains in lambs. We just heard the producer say this is producing somewhere between an average daily gain of 300 to 350 per lamb. Fantastic results. But at the same time, while he's actually maintaining productivity, the tools are here with these types of pasture compositions to be able to get that weed control. In this case, it's tall wheatgrass under control, and then go to the point where we actually get a new pasture in the future that we want to go ahead with. But at the moment, chicory and clover, fantastic result, growing feed where otherwise we wouldn't be. So standing in a paddock like this, really interesting. Triticale, alternative cereal. Haven't seen a lot of it planted in the Adelaide Hills, for example, certainly in the mid-north in places, but people are sort of being moving away from triticale as a grain and therefore we're not seeing it as a forage crop. However, when you stand here in dry conditions, you maybe misread or underestimate the value of a crop like this. This is Endeavour triticale. Leaf is fantastic all the way to the bottom, something we may not see in an oat crop or a barley crop that we're seeing here. So in this case here, what have we got? We've got a really good marriage between yield and quality. This is the sort of thing that's going to work out really well in terms of being able to manage a cow herd, maintenance feed them really well, because you can have the tons here, but it's holding on quality in the dry season better than what a lot of other cereals will do. So you might be wondering why we're here at the end of the season, not in the middle of the growing season. But the thing is that most varieties are performing really well during the best part of the growing season. But when it comes to getting quality feed, which is what we're about to finish livestock, it is what it can do at the end of the season. How well can it hang in? And it's been a dry year this year. And we look at these varieties and look at right now, how much leaf to stem ratio is there? We can feed test them at this point. It gives a real gauge of what the back end of the season can deliver. So we like to be here at the end when it's getting dry and we get a good chance to actually see how well these varieties are hanging in for the last part of the growing season.